guys, and welcome to my 5 worst books I read this year. These are probably not the worst books I read, and I hate doing this because authors put so much time into books, and it's probably even authors I love generally that end up on my worst book list sometimes. And it's so hard because, like, they did give me a source of entertainment, but maybe I just didn't like them as much as I wanted to like them. So they stick out like a sore thumb by the end of the year. So these may not be the worst books I read. I tried to pick for the worst, but there's some books that just linger in my head that I am disappointed about. I can't get over that I read them or spent the time reading on my guests. So book is hugely controversial, and it is The Beach Read by Emily Henry. Emily Henry is a really good writer. The Beach Read is about a girl who is a writer and a boy who's a writer. They get in this little competition. She goes away to spend some time, and then he lives there like permanently. So they make this little bet. They knew each other once upon a time. They make this little bet between them to write each other's genres, which is really hard. It is a slower romance, but they do get pushed together a lot. I didn't buy like the whole storyline topic. I think there are some like harsh things that they're going through. I just didn't love this book because everybody and their dogs said it was like the best book they read this year, or they loved it, or the best romance they read. And it was just too overhyped. And once I read it and thought it was okay, and it wasn't even a book I wanted to keep on my bookshelves, honestly. I didn't like it that much. I don't buy books unless I'm obsessed with the author. I know it's going to be good. I've already read part of the series kind of thing. I've heard nothing but great reviews. So this is one of those books that pushed me to buy a book that I didn't really know whether I was going to really love it or not. But I heard such great reviews, I bought it, and it's kind of like, I should have just checked it out from the library. I think if I would have checked it out from the library, if I had read it when it first came out before all the reviews were there, I think it would have just surpassed me as like, oh, it was an okay book. It was an okay romance book for me. But instead, because I read it at the top of its hype, it just let me down a little bit. The next one is Something Borrowed by Emily Griffin. I heard nothing but good things about these books again, and I collected the series from like used bookstores for like $1, so it's like no big thing. And it's adorable. Like, this series is adorable, but Something Borrowed is about a girl who ends up with like her best friend's fiance, and it's just messed up. Like, I couldn't buy it. It made me angry, a lot of it. The boy in the book made me angry. So I don't know. I'm gonna read the next one in the series, give it a chance. I like Emily Griffin, but once again, it was like one of those classic things that everybody loved. I went and watched the movie. The movie was better than the book, so there was that. I think this was a movie when I watched this year. Whew. I hate talking about books. I hate talking about books like this. The next one too, oh my gosh, The Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. So many people raved about this book, and then I also heard a lot of bad reviews too. But I love Leigh Bardugo. Like, I've read so many of your books, and there's none of them that I hated or disliked. But in The Ninth House, I should have DNR'd. I was so confused by it. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't want to listen to the story, but I kept pushing myself, thinking I'm gonna get something out of this. And it's about a girl who is like in a secret society at Yale, and it's different and interesting, and there's all these magic components, but it wasn't a story I caught on to. I didn't really care about the girl. By the end, I didn't really know what was going on. So yeah, I love Leigh Bardugo though, so I love it. Just for me, I think it was one of those hype things again, where it's such a hyped author, and the book didn't match up with me. The first one is Hidden Figures. Loved the movie. I thought I would get something out of this book more than the movie, and because books are like that, and you get more like attached to characters sometimes. And this book is an information download. It was so hard to read, and I kept thinking it'll get to a narration at one point. It'll give me a great story at one point, but instead it's like, this building was built in 1955, and this was the person there. I mean, it tells a great story somewhere in there in the background, but it's not told in a narration format. It is very, very, very hard to read. So I would not suggest this if you want to read about those women and it be an easy read. If you want to study about it and write a paper about it, then check out this book. And then the last one was Let It Snow. This has like 3 different authors who I love, like John Green and I believe Maureen Johnson, and I don't know the other one, but the book picture is like right up here. And it was a short story book, and I love short stories when they're really, really good. And they all connected. It was an okay book, but it just, at the end of the day, I didn't want to keep the book, and I collected it. I gave it away to a teen who I thought might like it better, but it just stuck in my mind like, man, I was excited for that, like as a winter reread, and just kind of let me down a little bit. So, like I said, these are not probably the worst books I read this year, but just the ones that stuck in my mind, like they let me down, man. But that's about it. And I will see you guys in the next Bookmas. Hopefully the next one is a much happier one. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.